I am so excited about this because if my story can impact anybody's health out there, I've made a difference. And that's my whole thing is to make a difference. That's why I want to share. And as you said, 30 years ago, my quality of life was dramatically changed, literally overnight. I was 45 years old. And I was very active. I was not on any medication. I had no health challenges. I played racquetball. I played softball. I golfed. I did line dancing, skied. I did all the fun things that you would do in life. And I was enjoying everything, thought everything was fine. I went to bed and woke up, and I could not believe that I changed literally overnight. My whole body just ached. I could not move. I couldn't even go down the steps because our bedroom was on the second floor. I had to hold on to something and sit down going down the steps. And I could not function at all. And it was so agony. I mean, and I didn't know what to do. And it got so bad that I couldn't sleep in our bed any longer. I slept in a recliner. I was unable to feed myself. My husband had to cut my food because my hands hurt so bad. I needed assistance going to the bathroom because my hands, it would just be like they were on fire when I tried to undress. Getting out of a chair, I screamed out in agony because my husband had to take my hands and lift me out of the chair. And it was so awful. I didn't know how I could continue to live like that. And I was really afraid. So I went to my primary care doctor, and they said I had an aggressive challenge with my immune system, and my immune system was attacking my body. And because this literally hit overnight, they said it in those cases, it's so much more aggressive than if the onset is gradual. And they told me my future would probably involve the wheelchair and disability and loss of my independence. And that's a really scary diagnosis. So I prayed, we cried, we didn't know what to do. And I said to my husband, I can't live like this every day. I don't know what to do. So, there was different medications that were offered. And the one doctor said, I don't even know how you walked into my office. You've got to be hurting so bad. And they had one drug that they wanted that would kind of help. But my mom had been on that medication, and she had side effects that I just did not want. She developed sugar problems, brittle bone disease, weight gain that she couldn't lose. And it really didn't do that much for her disease long term. And so I was really like searching, and I didn't know what to do. So they kind of kept offering different medications. And, I was hurting so bad, I was willing to at least try some of them. But I had like neurological issues from one of them. I had a huge rash all over my body from one, itching all over my body from another. And I didn't know what to do. So my primary care referred me to Johns Hopkins, to a specialist there. And they kept examining and working on different combinations. And they did find a combination of medication that seemed to calm things down where I could function. Now, was I out of discomfort? No. I still continued to work, but I couldn't enjoy my life. I mean, and I hated to go to bed because the next morning I had to start out with stiffness all over my body. But it did give me some functionality. But again, they were very toxic. So I continued to do that. In the meantime, we continued to pray, and different modalities came into my life. People saw me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I might have something that can help you." So, I tried magnetic therapy, acupuncture, energy medicine, PEMF devices, which is pulsed electromagnetic fields, um, And I did get some relief with the combination of the medication till about, 50, 60%. And, when you're off the charts and you get that, you're feeling okay. But, still, it's like I would still experience huge flare ups. And they had to be broken with the cycle of the drug that my mom did not want me to go on, but it was the only choice that I could get through that cycle and have some quality of life. I did start to play golf again, but my hands hurt so bad and my body hurt so bad. And one of my friends said, "You enjoy this game so much, but you're struggling, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, I am." And I didn't know what to do. However, there was a friend of mine who thought about me, and she came to visit us in Florida. Now, this is a funny story because we moved from Maryland, where she lives, and she shared a SIA with us. But the very next day, there was a moving van just waiting for us to move to Florida. And we're like, "Barb, I'm moving tomorrow. I don't have any time to look at what you're offering me." And so to us, it was just a not now. We moved, we forgot about it. And 10 years later, she's visiting her mom in Florida. She says, "Can I stop by?" And we said, "Sure." So she brings a Sia back into my home. And now they
10 years later.
10 years later, and now they have a gel, and and I invited some of my friends over. I said, "Well, hey, come on, let's, my friend's bringing something over. Maybe we should take a look at it." And it was really interesting because my friends were getting relief from their discomfort with the Renew 28. And so I thought, well, how's it going to help me? This has been with me for 30 years. Come on, really? But I took a leap of faith. I started taking it. It did taste pretty awful for about 2 weeks, but I had done a lot of things that weren't really comfortable. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I gave it a try. And then it was like things started to change. I noticed I could sleep through the night. I noticed I had energy. I noticed I got up in the morning and I wasn't as stiff. I noticed my gut health improved. And I started seeing improvements. And then I noticed the flare ups went away. And this is about a year, it was gradual, but in a year, the flare ups went away. And I'm like, wow. So my specialist is monitoring me and he's seeing all this improvement in my lab work and no real kind of big walkie joints and all that stuff, swollen joints. And he says, "Well, what are you doing?" And I shared it with him. And he didn't really know anything about it. But he says, "Well, it seems to be working for you." He says, "Would you like to start maybe going off some of your medications? Because they're very toxic." And I said, "Of course." So he agreed to take me off the most toxic of the two that I was on. And so I went off of that and I held my own. And I continued just to continue to even have further improvement. So I go back and he says, he examines my joints, looks at my blood work. And I said, "Oh, I want to show you something because with this disease, I'm going to show you, you get huge, huge nodules on the elbow when it's really aggressive." And he looked at my elbows and he said, "The only way that they could have decreased like that is if your challenge is being improved." And he says, "I think your challenge is really being helped by what you're doing. Would you like to go off the other medication?" And this medication, he warned me that if I go off cold turkey, that most likely, because I'd been on it for 15 years or so, 13 years actually, if I go off of it and try to go back on, it's not going to work. That's what their findings were. So he said, "Well, let's try reducing it in half." So we reduced that medication in half. I'm still holding my own. And in 6 months, I returned to him. Now, my lab work that I used to have done because of all the toxicity, they're now expanded further out. I don't need them as often. And I'm to see him in 6 months, and he's going to re-examine me because he didn't want me to quit cold turkey because, you know, 30 years of
Yeah.
this, and you want to kind of slowly, gradually get off the medications that they have you on that might be managing your illness. So I'm still doing great. I'm playing golf with my husband again. We just came back from Myrtle Beach. We played 4 days in a row, which some of my healthy friends can't do. Um, we ride our bikes. We're back to dancing, um, golfing. I came back and golfed 2 more days with my friends. And we live in the villages. So guess what? It's an active community. And instead of sitting there watching as a spectator, I'm now participating. And I'm so excited to have my quality of life back and live my dream in retirement years and help other people when I can. It's just been a gift to me and a godsend. And I thank my angel for coming to me and readdressing this after 10 years. It's a
Beautiful.
miracle.
Beautiful. Yeah, sometimes not now is just no is just not now.
Exactly.
It's not a no. It's just not the right time for you 10 years earlier. But just an amazing, amazing story. I mean, after 1 year, your markers are all in the normal range. And then I do want to stress, of course, and you've made it very, very clear, under doctor supervision. We never encourage anybody to self-medicate or do any of that stuff under doctor supervision. His
Exactly.
suggestion, his suggestion was to start to kind of start to remove some of these very toxic medications from you. But it's an amazing story, you know, to go from having something that you love cause so much discomfort in your body, like playing golf, to now being able to play 4 days straight at Myrtle Beach. It's what we talk about. It's about living younger, longer. It's the quality of life. That's what matters. It's not about being a spectator in life, but being an active participant. You said that beautifully.
Well, if
So,
I may, I want to share one more thing
sure.
is that the specialist said the only thing I had to give you, and this is 30 years of this challenge, was something that could slow down the progression. And don't panic, everyone, but I'm going to show you my hands because this is medication slowing down the progression of a 30-year challenge. So this is what I've ended up with. However, they're totally functional and I can play golf. And he said, I have nothing here that could have done that. He says, from what the literature you gave me, maybe your body's repairing at the cellular level. And that were his words.
His words. Yeah. Very, very cool. Well, what a powerful story, Linda. And I need to obviously stress that this technology is not a treatment or cure for any disease or medical condition. We're simply giving the body a resource. I like to use the analogy: you've got a hole in the roof, you've got a toilet that won't flush, you've got cockroaches under the sink, but you can't afford to fix them. I write you a big old check, I give you $10,000 cash, and now you can hire the roofer, you can hire the plumber, you can hire pest control. And I look at this almost like cellular currency. This is a powerful, high energy resource for your cells. But your body's the miracle. What your body does with these molecules, what your body does with these bioidentical high energy molecules, that's going to be up to your body. And that's why, you know, we give the body all the credit. This is just a resource that's empowering your body to do what it naturally wants to do, which is to move towards health and vitality. And that's exactly what you've experienced. So, Linda, thank you again for just sharing your amazing story. I love the fact that you've just got such great quality of life. You're living in the beautiful villages. How many golf courses are there in the villages there in Florida?
14 champion and about 40 some executive.
In one big retirement village, all the
The
golf fans.
villages the villages spans 3 counties in Florida
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they continue to grow.